to the Fit Summit Entrepreneurs Network. Today we are joined with Laura, founder of Healthzilla. Laura is I'm a huge fan of Laura, and I love the work that she does in Healthzilla. She's also best buddies with Fit Summit. She's always supported the Fit Summit from the start till now. Hi Laura, how have you been?
Hi, Sarah. Good. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to interview you. You're one of my mentors in the fitness and wellness industry. A bit of a fun fact is that when I started this fitness and wellness business with Ross, when I joined Ross, she was one of the first few female entrepreneurs that I actually met. So I hope through this interview, the kind of expertise that I got from you would be reached out to many whom are watching this. So thank you, Laura, for actually doing this for us. First starting off, Laura, you are the founder of Healthzilla. Can you tell us a little more about what Healthzilla is?
Yeah, sure. So for those who don't know yet, Healthzilla is a wellness-focused technology company, and we're developing solutions for both consumers and businesses. Currently, in the middle of the pandemic, we're going more to the businesses, so SaaS, B2B side, but we still do have our consumer offering. So anybody can use it for free, actually, at the moment. And I would say the one thing to remember about us is that our core technology, there are so many technology companies out there. Ours is the ability to gather and analyze stress and habit data. So that's our niche, healthy habits and stress analysis and intelligent advice. So that would be, I think, Healthzilla in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Laura, for actually sharing this. I'm going to dive in straight to the first question. Okay.
Yep.
It has been a crazy couple of months, or I would say last year. 2020 seemed like it never happened, or it just seemed like 10 years for some people. Okay. What was the driving force for creating your business? And has your vision changed in the past 12 months?
Yeah, so the driving force, I think, sort of when I got the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, starting my own company, that was back in the days when I was still working in the corporate world. And I think I was just constantly frustrated about not being able to make an impact. I was working hard, long hours, making good money, making rich people richer, but I still felt like, if I want to leave a mark in a way, I want to make a dent or make an impact. I figured I have to do this thing on my own so that I can actually execute my vision. And coming back to your question, sort of, has it been different, or has it changed in the past 12 months that we've had the pandemic? I think my vision sort of has only strengthened, because sort of our purpose and vision is to democratize health. Like currently, if you look at the health and fitness scene, sort of good health is the luxury of the wealthy. So people who can afford to go see a doctor, who can hire personal trainers, who can buy expensive gym memberships. It's only for those wealthy people. And our idea was from the very beginning that we want to be able to make this preventative approach to health, like sustaining health instead of treating issues, available for everybody. And I think in the pandemic, where people are losing their jobs and going through all sorts of struggles, this vision has only strengthened. We want to do it even more because we feel that the world needs it even more now.
Thank you so much, Laura, for answering that question. I love how you actually mentioned your vision has actually strengthened throughout this pandemic and across like now. So I love how you answered it. I've only will wish all the best for Healthzilla, and you're doing an amazing job, just to let you know. Okay, let's move on to the second question. What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur? What do you enjoy the least?
Yeah, that was an excellent question. I think this would be like a super long list, but I try to mention only a few things just for the inspiration, and also to get some of that reality. So I think related to what I just answered before, sort of the ability to really build like a purpose-driven business is one of the things that I enjoy the most. And making those decisions around where do we want to take this company, where do we want to go, that's something that I really enjoy. I would also say one of the core benefits of being an entrepreneur is that you actually get to surround yourself with excellent people, because you hire the team and you can really make sure that you're daily surrounded with amazing talent and really your own kind of tribe. And then I think the third one I wanted to mention is that this is something that could be like a pro and con at the same time. But when you're running your own business, you kind of have to be jack of all trades. So, if there's something that you don't know, you need to learn it really quickly. And you're having like 15 different hats every day. So you're, the coffee lady and the janitor, and then you're the, head of AI at the same time. So it's kind of like that I think keeps me really hungry, because I need to learn new things every day. So that's, I think, the things that I enjoy the most. And then on the things that I don't enjoy so much is probably like the first thing that comes to my mind is the constant worry. Because I would say as the CEO, your most important job is to make sure that you never run out of cash, and you have people on the payroll. So you need to be, make sure, they have mouths to feed. So, any kind of bad decisions that you make, or the ones that you make too late, like, starting your next funding round or whatever, you have to be ahead of your game, so that you make sure that, this bigger picture still works well, and you're able to, pay your employees and your team members and whatnot. So that the constant worry, I think, is one of the things that keeps me awake at night at times. And, even once you close that funding round, you're super happy about it for the next 3 hours. And after that, you're like, oh, now we need to scale up. We need to ramp up our burn rate. Oh, we're going to run out of money soon. So the worry kind of comes back. But I would say as an entrepreneur, you have to love that. So if you hate that kind of worrying and feel anxious about it all the time, it's not a good fit. So you kind of have to enjoy it. And I would say the other thing that is kind of tricky is the flexible working hours. I mean, it's a blessing in a way that, you can sort of plan your day how you like it. But then again, I end up working pretty much all weekends as well. And then as we do have two entities, so one in Europe and one in Singapore. So I work the Singapore shift, and then my European team wakes up at 2 p.m. Singapore time. So I start the second shift, which is kind of, I tend to work a lot and quite late nights. So that's one of the things that you really need to enjoy, to be able to keep up with that for years.
Thank you, Laura, for answering that. I feel like I got a lot of keywords from what you enjoy the most and what you enjoy the least. Being the jack of all trades, being able to do so many things, wearing so many hats, and obviously the cons comes with, not being able to juggle and having to work, having to not have the work-life balance sometimes because it's your own business. You don't know whether you're working or, you don't know whether you're at home, and especially considering the whole Europe timings and Singapore timings, that must be tough. But thank you for sharing that. A lot of entrepreneurs I spoke to have highlighted this as one of the problems that they face, especially when they are at the top, and, the work-life balance is completely difficult to juggle. So, it's consistent among entrepreneurs. You're not the only one who's going through it. Let's move on to the next question, which is kind of tying up to the previous question. It can be lonely at the top, considering you managing the business. How do you cope with this?
I have very hands-on tips to cope with it, because, like you said, it's lonely. It's ultimately, even if you're surrounded by an amazing team, it's you who are responsible ultimately. So it's your worries, kind of. And I would say sort of the very hands-on things that I've incorporated into my daily life is, one is gratitude practice. So I'm not a religious person, but I've noticed, first of all, I read about the science about behind gratitude practice. It's actually like changing you on a DNA level. So that's amazing. Cool reason to get into that. But that really helps me keep grounded, and sort of even in the most desperate moments, I always find things to be grateful for. And this is something I do every night with my kids. So at least 3 things, even if the day was awful, everybody said no to you, and things failed, and whatever crashes happened, there are always things to be grateful for. So that kind of helps with the loneliness, because you realize there are so many good things in my life. And I think sort of the second thing is routines, just the healthy habits. And in my case, I think I've taken it a bit to the extreme. So when it comes to exercise, I'm super rigorous. I eat extremely healthy food. I don't use any alcohol. I don't actually watch TV at all. And sort of, I found the routines that support my well-being in a way that it kind of takes some of that anxiety and that loneliness away. So, instead of binging Netflix, I go for walks. I really enjoy, being in nature. Even in, Singapore is full of beautiful parks, and, the weather is always perfect for outdoor walks. So that's kind of like, I've had to find the daily routines that really support my well-being, and that kind of helps with also the mindset. Like when your body is doing well, your mind is also doing well. And I think the third thing for me that has kind of evolved along the entrepreneurial journey is surrounding myself with right people. And I mean, this is something, Sarah, I'm sure you've read a lot of books about, how the people around us, they have an impact on our energy, our thoughts, sort of our entire mindset. So finding that kind of tribe. And I think for me, it has been kind of hard to give less attention to certain relationships. Like some people who were really good friends, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, we're not so close anymore. Whereas a lot of the other entrepreneurs, a lot of other startup founders, they become really close because obviously they're going through very similar struggles. And once we have our conversations and coffees and whatnot, we kind of get each other. And it's kind of, it doesn't feel so lonely when you realize that there are so many others in the exact same situation, worrying about the exact same things. And, things will always work out. You see it around you, and it kind of gives you this positive energy, like, okay, this is going to work for me too. I just have to believe in it and, get it done.
Thank you, Laura, for answering that. I mean, there was so many takeaways from that, but what I got was running through my mind is about how to basically make sure that you don't feel so lonely at the top is really to develop healthy habits. And when you mentioned about how you go for a walk, I'm just thinking about the new puppy that you have right now and bringing him or her for a walk. That would be so exciting. And also about how you mentioned about, making sure that you have allocated a schedule and sticking with the schedule and make sure that everything falls in routine in order for you to be able to not even think about this loneliness that you feel at the top. So that's interesting to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Next question is a very interesting question. What has been the hardest business decision you've had to make in the past 12 months, and why did you have to make it?
I think for us, sort of, one of the hardest ones was to give less attention to the consumer side of business. I think, yeah, so sort of consumer market has always been really close to my heart, but we kind of felt that in the middle of the pandemic, it's kind of crucial to sort of extend our offering to the businesses, and sort of we're able to serve a much wider audience through that channel, but kind of putting less effort into that side, because we have so much consumer feedback. People give us amazing ideas like, oh, could you build this kind of feature, and could you do this and this and this, and we're like, yeah, we would love to, but kind of right now we have to put it a bit on hold and kind of focus on other areas of the business. So that was definitely hard. I think sort of fighting against my internal burn to serve the consumers instead of businesses.
Nice. Thank you so much, Laura, for actually answering that question. I think it's interesting that you mentioned about the kind of not having to focus on the consumer side and having to help businesses, because that's what you've always been passionate about as well. But I'm sure that you'll be able to jump on the bandwagon of actually serving the customers and the clients and consumer side of things in no time. So wishing you all the best for that. We've come down to our last question, and our last question is really, can you pinpoint 3 key reasons for your success till date?
Yeah, I think success is quite a strong word. I think any entrepreneur who hasn't exited yet, they're kind of like, success really? Oh, how is it measured? But yeah, I think the first one is sort of really loving what you do. Because, you know, with those long hours and all those struggles and all those, you know, highs and lows, if you're in it for, I would say, just money or some kind of external reason, like, oh, it looks cool to be an entrepreneur or whatever, you're not going to last long. And I think that that's part of the reason why so many companies fail. Like in the first 2 years, I can't remember the percentage. It's a massive percentage, because it's kind of like once you run out of the initial money, it's kind of like, what do we do next? Do we just, you know, make it work somehow one way or another, or do we just give up? So really loving what you do every day really helps. And I think the second thing is kind of related. So it's, I would say resilience is definitely one thing. So as an entrepreneur, you get, you know, told no so many times. Like for one yes, you get like 200 no's at least. So sort of being super resilient in this space and going after it, just knocking the you know, whenever a door slams into your face, you go and knock onto the other doors. So it's kind of keeping that energy up and being really resilient, and sort of, I would say that this is probably the last point, sort of believing in yourself, because you have to believe that whatever you're building, whatever you're, you know, selling, whatever you're working on, that is something worth, you know, worth doing. If you don't believe in your product, if you don't really love it like it's your baby, other people are not going to buy it either. So, you know, you need to buy it first and then you can sell it to others. So I would say really believing in yourself, not in a blind way that you're completely ignorant towards, you know, customer feedback or whatever feedback you get. Obviously, you take it in, you digest it, you take some parts and adjust it. But sort of, you have to be that person, because you're going to have so many mentors, investors, all these different stakeholders that all have a saying and all think that they know best. But ultimately, like, it's your company, it's your product, it's your baby. And, you know, you need to be the proud parent who owns that. So that would be, I think, my 3 key things.
Thank you so much, Laura, for answering all my questions so patiently, and, you know, being able to just give me bite-sized answers and having very relevant answers that they'll be able to connect with with the audience that are from the Entrepreneurs Network. You know, thank you for taking the time to actually have this interview with us. We're always so grateful to have you as part of our speakers panel or even in our interview panel. So thank you. Do you have any final words to say to our entrepreneurs that are watching this interview?
Yeah, sure. So I would say definitely, I'm so happy you've built this network, and especially in the health and fitness sector. This is something I would say truly unique, because, you know, having been an entrepreneur in this space for quite a few years, it's a lonely journey. And like I mentioned, one of the key things to kind of keep you sane and keep you motivated and keep the loneliness away is kind of surrounding yourself with the right kind of people. And this kind of setting you guys have built, a platform that allows you to connect with sort of like-minded entrepreneurs who are facing the exact same struggles, especially in the middle of the pandemic, is really amazing. So my sort of final words would be, all of you who are watching this, who have joined the Entrepreneurs Network, make the most out of it. Like, really build those connections, you know, make sure that even if you're working remotely, you go and meet up with people in person, you know, safe distancing measures and everything, but just, you know, go out, meet these people, get to know them, find your tribe. So this is definitely, I have to say, a massive thank you to Fit Summit for sort of offering this platform, it makes things for, you know, aspiring entrepreneurs or, you know, newcomers so much easier. So definitely tap into this network and make the most of it and really enjoy the journey. Like embrace it, embrace like even the darkest moments, embrace those. And obviously all the wins. Don't just spend 2 hours, you know, celebrating your big, you know, funding round or whatever. Like try to make it last at least for a day. So really don't forget those wins, even if they're small ones. Just, you know, embrace every single moment of it.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you.